Okay, so I'm going to read from Leviticus 11. I will be also reading this, because what the Bible says about food. This is from my Every Man's Bible, which is a New Living Translation. So it should be easier to, Now, I'm going to compare it with the King James Version Bible that I have. Okay? Wait. Leviticus is somewhere after Numbers, after Deuteronomy, Samuel, Judges, Joshua. By the way, if you see, see Jas, J-A-S, that's James, by the way. I had to look that up. I was like, what? Let me see what Leviticus is after. Is that to Exodus? Yes, it's after Exodus, which is way in the front of the Bible. Okay. I just want to see what this says. I really do. This is the time of Moses, so this is before flood, right? And the Lord spake unto Moses and to Aaron, saying to them, Speak to the children of Israel, saying, These are the beasts which ye shall eat. Yeah. I prefer this one because it's easier for people to understand. And I'm about that, right? And really, you would... Oh my God, really. This is what you have to do. You really have to do this. Have to have it closed like that, just to... And that's annoying. But anyway, your restrictive diet. Or restriction diet. These are the instructions regarding land animals, birds, marine creatures, and animals that scurry along the ground. By these instructions, you will know what is unclean and clean, and which animals may be eaten, which may not be eaten. Leviticus 11, 46 and 47, which I believe is the last part of 46, 47 is the last two of the thing. So and if any native Israelite or foreigner living among you eats or drinks blood in any form, I, God, will turn against that person and cut him off from the community of your people. Leviticus 17, verse 10. Okay, great gift. If you have food, share it with those who are hungry. This is especially children, because usually children can't fend for themselves, right? So, yeah. The new everything diet. Since everything God created is good, we should not reject any of it, but receive it with thanks. That's 1 Timothy 4, verse 4. Don't overdo it. Do not carouse with drunkards or feast with gluttons, for they are on their way to poverty, and too much sleep clothes them in rags. Proverbs 23, verses 20-21. God is the chef. You cause grass to grow for the livestock and plants for people to use. You allow them to produce food from the earth, wine to make them glad, olive oil to soothe their skin, and bread to give them strength. Psalm 104, verses 14 and 15. The eyes of all look to you in hope. You give them their food as they need it. When you open your hand, you satisfy the hunger and thirst of every living thing. Psalm 145, verses 15 and 16. Don't live to eat. Their God is their appetite. They think only about this life here on earth. Philippians 3:19. Okay? Now, this is more for Christians. Okay? This is, if you're not Christian, whatever, that's you. You, whatever. And the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, give the following instructions to the people of Israel. Okay? Now let me read down here where it says, 11:1-47. The elaborate dietary laws of this section illustrate the fact that God's relationship with His people extends even to the practical areas of everyday living. While we are not bound by the specifics of these dietary standards, we know that God is just as interested in the details of our lives. If our eating or drinking leads to excess, abuse, or poor health, God holds us accountable to deal with the problem. Personal holiness relates even to the mundane areas of life. Okay? Now, in this Bible, you have like this type of stuff here, like down here that reads, with what you're reading. So yeah. Okay? Of all the land animals, these are the ones you may use for food. You may eat any animal that has completely split hooves and choose the cud. You may not, however, eat the following animals that have split hooves or that chew the cud. Now there's a It says, the identification of some of these animals, birds, and insects in the chapter is uncertain. Okay? Okay, you may not, however, eat the following animals that have split hooves or that chew the cud, but not both. The camel chews the cud, but does not have split hooves, so it is similarly unclean for you. The hyrax, or rock badger, because it says down here, chews the cud, but does not have split hooves, so it is unclean. The hare chews the cud, but does not have split hooves, so it is unclean. The pig has evenly split hooves, but does not chew the cud, so it is unclean. You may not eat the meat of these animals or even touch the carcasses. They are similarly unclean for you. Now, I'm going to say this. Pigs, we shouldn't be eating, regardless. Because one, it's whether it's that good for you, actually. That science has found. I almost said find and found at the same time, by the way. I wonder what that word would be. And there's a reason God cast pigs to hell. Right? They are literally, if you're going to eat, here's the thing. I would eat turkey and chicken because those two are very healthy meats. So yeah. Of all the marine animals, these are the ones you may use for food. You may eat anything from the water if it has both fins and scales. Okay, so here's now biblical days. Fish were way different and way healthier than fish of today. Because fish of today, literally, they're either farm raised, which, tilapia, you should not eat tilapia. It's farm raised, it's not actually good for you. It's been proven. Right? So, yeah. Okay. Whether taken from salt water or streams, but you must never eat animals from the sea or from rivers that do not have both fins and scales. They are detestable to you. This applies both to little creatures that live in shallow water and to all creatures that live in deep water. They will always be detestable to you. You must never eat their meat or even touch their dead bodies. Any marine animal that does not have both fins and scales is detestable to you. These are the birds that are detestable to you. You must never eat them. The griffin vulture, the bearded vulture, the black vulture, the kite. You know what that is. Falcons of all kinds, ravens of all kinds, the eagle, or the eagle owl, the short-eared owl, the seagull, hawks of all kinds, the little owl, the cormorant, the great owl, the barn owl, the desert owl, the Egyptian vulture, the stark herons of all kinds, the hoopoe, and the bat. Basically, vultures, ravens, eagles, whatever, right? So yeah. You may not eat winged insects that walk along the ground. They are detestable to you. You may, however, eat winged insects that walk along the ground and have jointed legs so they can jump. The insects you are permitted to eat include all kinds of locusts, bald locusts, crickets, grasshoppers. Or other winged insects that walk along the ground are detestable to you. God, I need to remember. Who is the one character in the Bible that ate locusts and honey as his primary diet? I cannot remember at all. I will look this up afterwards. So yeah. The following creatures will make you ceremonially unclean. If you or if any of you touch the carcasses, you will be defiled until evening. If you pick up the carcass, you must wash your clothes, and you will remain defiled until evening. Any animal that has split hooves that are not evenly divided or does not chew the cud is unclean for you. If you touch the carcass of such an animal, you will be defiled. Of the animals that walk on all fours, those that have paws are unclean, which means you shouldn't eat dogs, cats, what have you, right? Because why would you eat a dog or a cat? I mean, yeah, they do it in like Asian countries, but yeah, that's them. Okay. If you touch the carcass of if you touch the carcass of such an animal, you will be defiled until evening. If you pick up its carcass, you must wash your clothes, and you will remain defiled until evening. These animals are unclean for you. Okay? Of such small animals that scurry along the ground, these are unclean for you. The mole rat, the rat, large lizards of all kinds, the gecko, the monitor lizard, the common lizard, the sand lizard, and the chameleon. The sand lizard, all these small animals are unclean for you. If any of you touch the dead body of such an animal, you will be defiled until evening. If such an animal dies and falls on something, that object will be unclean. This is true whether the object is made of wood, cloth, leather, or burlap. Whenever its use, you must dip it in water, and it will remain defiled until evening. After that, it will be ceremonially clean and may be used again. If such an animal falls into a clay pot, everything in the pot will be defiled, and the pot must be smashed. If the water from such a container spills on any food, the food will be defiled, and any beverage in such a container will be defiled. Any object on which the carcass of such an animal falls will be defiled. If it is an oven or hearth, it must be destroyed, for it is defiled, and you must treat it accordingly. However, if the carcass of such an animal falls into a spring or a cistern, the water will still be clean, but anyone who touches the carcass will be defiled. If the carcass falls on seed grain to be planted in the field, the seed will still be considered clean. But if the seed is wet when the carcass falls on it, the seed will be defiled. If any animal you are permitted to eat dies and you touch its carcass, you will be defiled until evening. If you eat any of its meat or carry away its carcass, you must wash your clothes, and you will remain defiled until evening. All small creatures that scurry along the ground are detestable, and you must never eat them. This includes all animals that slither along on their bellies, snakes, etc. Okay? As well as those which are with 4 legs, and those with many feet. All such animals that scurry along the ground are detestable, and you must never eat them. Do not defile yourselves by touching them. You must not make yourselves ceremonially unclean because of them. For I am the Lord your God. You must consecrate CONSECRATE yourselves and be holy, because I am holy. So do not defile yourselves with any of these small animals that scurry along the ground. For I, the Lord, am the one who brought you up from the land of Egypt, that I might be your God. Therefore you must be holy, because I am holy. These are the instructions regarding land animals, birds, marine creatures, and animals that scurry along the ground. By these instructions, you will know what is unclean and clean, and which animals may be eaten and which may not be eaten. Now, Leviticus 12 is on purification after childbirth. And then 13 is serious skin diseases, blah, blah, blah. Now, I feel that Leviticus 11 will be good for today also. Now, as a vegetarian, right, I eat, fruit, vegetables, nuts, rice and grains and beans, because I think that's what, God's people used to do in biblical days. They would eat fish, but that fish is way more clean than any fish of today. So, hope you enjoyed. I should be uploading this now. Have a good morning, afternoon, evening, and night, or whenever you're watching this. God bless.